Okay, Chief Reed, we're recording. Floor is yours.
Great. Thank you very much, Carl. Good day, everyone. I would like to bring the June 16th Fire Service Membership Council meeting to order. Carl, can you please do a roll call?
Glad to. Chief Reed, I've got you. Tim Deal, I've got you. Chief Adams, I saw you. Rick Boisford, are you on? Rick Boisford. Chief Buxton, I saw you. Good to go. Marshal Desrochers, I've got you. Chief Farley. Chief Farley. Chief Hyde, I saw you. Thanks. Chief King. Chief Lane. Marshal Lund, I've got you. Chief Medina. Marshal Nelson, I've got you. Coy Porter, did you join? Steve Swarthout. And Chief Wassom, I saw you come on. Do we have Director Sayers with us? Okay. Tim Schmitz, are you on?
Right here.
Gotcha. Do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, Chief Reed, you've got a quorum.
Great. Thank you so much, Carl. All right. Well, we have a great day because we have 2 guest presentations. Lucky us today. The first one is I would like to welcome Peg Paul from the Home Fire Sprinkler Coalition. She has a presentation for us about a great new educational tool. So welcome, Peg, and I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to attempt to share screen again. Okay, did that work?
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right, I know I have 20 minutes, and so I'm going to stick to it, I promise. And I just want to say up front, I know in some cases I'm preaching to the choir, but I think that's helpful to make sure we're all on the same page. And so today I'm actually going to present an abbreviated version of HFSC's Developer Incentive Program. And I'm also going to talk about our wonderful new virtual reality tool and how the two can work together to hopefully persuade people to ultimately end up with sprinkler developments. First, a little bit about HFSC. HFSC was formed 26 years ago as our 3 founding members, which are NFPA, the American Fire Sprinkler Association, and the National Fire Sprinkler Association. They joined forces to increase awareness about home fire sprinklers. In the first few years, the focus was on pilot programs in the US and Canada, but other organizations joined us, Underwriters Laboratory, FM Global, State Farm, many others, many fire service organizations sit on our board in partnering to support the fire service. Today, HFSC is the leading resource for independent, non-commercial information about the life-saving benefits of home fire sprinklers, specifically in 1 and 2 family homes. We do not get into 13R multifamily. Our focus is single family homes. And we're the only organization with a singular focus. We do not get into the code process. We realize that education is a part of it, which is why I'm going to talk about this program today. We know that it's important that decision makers are educated. So our material is used for that, but we don't get involved in the code process itself. But our mission is to save lives by increasing awareness of the benefits and availability of home fire sprinklers. Again, ultimately increasing the number of installations in new 1 and 2 family homes. So I hope you're familiar with us and know our material already, but if not, that's who we are. Most of our resources are used primarily by the fire service. We have a program, we've had it for a few years. It's called the Built for Life Fire Department program. It's basically a database and a way that we can have two-way communication with these resources. The fire departments are a little over 3,400 of them. They basically commit to including sprinkler messages as part of their community outreach. And they're the first to see new material like this virtual reality. When we were still putting it together, we were asking them to take a look and give us some feedback. And also we have a stipend program that we do where we offer usually around $500 to support outreach programs. And so that's a big incentive for a lot of fire departments to be a part of this program as well. But again, the fire departments are the ones who primarily go to our website and utilize our resources. So this is the preaching to the choir part of it, but I just want to make sure that you understand. And again, this is part of the presentation that we do.
Yep. No, thank you.
To stakeholders. So today, 1 and 2 family homes are more dangerous for residents. 6 people die in U.S. fires every day. These are 1 and 2 family homes. 86% of all residential fire deaths, civilian deaths are in 1 and 2 family homes. 8,600 civilian injuries, and it results in $6.8 billion in direct property damage every year. And we know that today's home fires are dangerous for firefighters. They're 11 times more likely to be injured fighting structure fires, and 87% of firefighter injuries are from fighting structure fires. And then, of course, we get into the whole contamination control.
Hey, Christine, it's Carl. Is it just me or is everybody? There we go. I think it's everybody seeing Peg frozen.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Peg, if you can hear us, you're frozen. Let's give her a minute and see if she can hear us. Peg, if you can hear us, you're frozen. All right, Carl, trying to think if we can maybe put something in the chat to see if Peg can see it, or if we have another way to reach out.
Yep, I just sent her a message too.
Okay.
And if we go too long here, I'm sure we can just pick up the agenda and roll with it until she's back.
Sure, that's fine.
I have that ready to go. Just let me know if you want to do that.
Yeah, let's see if she can see that message. Do we have our next presenter available?
We do not. She's
Okay.
tied up until top of the hour.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, so now it looks like we just lost Peg. So let's go ahead and move on with the agenda.
Gotcha. Here, I'll let me just do this to bring up the agenda for you, and we'll clear that screen.
Great.
There you go. You should be able to see that now.
And then we'll certainly go back to Peg when she hopefully is able to come back on. Okay, so our second presenter is due to come on the top of the hour, so we'll come back to the presenters when we get those availabilities. All right, next item is additions or corrections to the agenda. Does anyone have anything? All right, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion for approval of minutes for the May 18th meeting. So, excuse me, May 19th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve. Wassom.
Buxton, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, next
Christine,
item.
I'm seeing Peg back in the list, although I'm not seeing her video yet, so.
Okay.
Peg, are you back with us? Okay.
Let's go ahead and keep going, and then hopefully she can reach out through chat. Okay, so let's go to the work group updates. First item is from Carl.
Yep, this is just a quick reminder to everybody that for folks on the governing committee, you should have received from me an invitation to each of the standing meetings that you're interested in joining or that you're a member of the work group of. So we announced this last month as well too, but I wanted to put it back out there just as a reminder. We should have everybody settled at this point, I would think. But if you are not receiving or you have not received information in terms of calendar invites for the work groups that you're a part of or want to be a part of, let me know and I'll be glad to forward those on to you. That's all.
Great, thank you. All right, next work group, member recruitment. Did Andy come on the call?
I did not see Andy and I did not see Gary Farley.
Okay, so just a short note about the membership recruitment work group. We are, the leadership and the work group are trying to schedule a meeting to discuss where we go from here with this work group and how we can help move the work group forward. So more to come on that. But just know that we are trying to schedule a meeting to work through some things. The next work group is emerging issues and trends. Michael.
Good morning. Nice to see everybody or hear everybody. Director Brown. So I don't have much to report out on this month. I unexpectedly had to cancel June's work group meeting on fairly short notice, for which I apologize. And I'm sorry for the inconvenience there. Our work group is still very active. We have a number of emerging issue and trend topics which we're working on, and we will make up June's meeting. I'll send out an invite probably tomorrow for sometime toward the end of June. So that's the update from me. Thank you, Christine.
Great, thank you very much. Public awareness, did we see Steve Swarthout come in? I'm not seeing him. So we'll move on to from public awareness to training and education. Mark Wassom.
Hey, everybody. Just a short update from me today. We did meet earlier this month on the first Monday. Had a small group, but a good discussion. So thanks for those that joined in. We have had some trouble with folks having the meeting link, so do be sure to reach out to me or Carl if you're not seeing the meeting invite for our training and education meeting, and you should be if you're expecting it. Just let us know and we'll get you that link. My only updates would be that we're patiently awaiting the educational agenda for the annual business meeting to see if we made the cut. So we'll watch for that. I do have a request for proposals. I'd sent it out to the Training and Education Committee, but it's for next year's IAFC Wildland Urban Interface Conference. So if you have something you might like to propose, or if you have an idea that we could propose for education on behalf of the membership council, please reach out to me. I've put some feelers out, but nothing yet. So if you've got an idea and you'd like to potentially propose something or present, or know someone that might, please reach out. Otherwise, our next meeting would have been the first Monday, which in July is going to be the 4th of July, so we obviously won't do that. I'll either look at rescheduling, or if we don't have much to talk about, we may just cancel July's, but I'll reach out to the working group and we'll figure that out, and I'll send out some invites. So that's all I've got, Chief.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. Okay, so since we're at the end of that item, I'd like to go back up. Welcome back, Peg.
Sorry.
That's okay. It happens. It happens. So why don't we go back, if you're ready to go back to where you left off?
Did I freeze at the very beginning? I think I was rambling.
No, you got through a few slides.
Okay, so I got through saying who HFSC was.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to go back to the data slides real quick here. All right, try this again. And you're able to see the slides?
Yes.
We
Okay.
are, and you've got incredible grace under pressure. Thank you, Peg.
So sorry about that. So I'll just start from here because, like I said, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. One of the key points that we make in our presentations is that fire is faster than ever today. We use the UL data where it's actually a combination of UL and NIST data that just talks about it's the things that are in our homes. It's the way our homes are construction. It's the lightweight construction material. It's the larger, more open designs cause fire behavior to be different, but really the common synthetic furnishings in our home is what makes today's homes burn quickly and fast, and families need to know that they have less than 2 minutes to get out. So we have a lot of challenges. We've had them. I've been with HFSC for over 25 years. And, I don't know what it's going to take. We're always going to have to fight, TV and Hollywood movies, lack of awareness, myths, misconceptions. People think they all go off at once. A lot of people think that your smoke alarms go off, your sprinklers would go off. But other challenges that we've had with other stakeholders have been the water purveyors. They don't understand residential systems. If it's in areas where they've never had to deal with residential systems, there are certain backflow requirements in some areas. I was based in Illinois. I retrofit my home and I was required to have a backflow. Water meter issues, that comes up often. And then discussions about delinquent water bills, water shut off, and that type of thing. And then oftentimes there are high tap fees that can penalize homeowners, and that's totally unnecessary. So a lot of our education does involve challenges with the water purveyors. But of course, the biggest challenge that we have is with the home building industry. We get a lot of resistance from home builders, especially when the topic of codes comes up. They believe new homes do not burn. Oftentimes that's a myth that is spread by the home building industry. They do not want the added cost. We know that, that's common. And then also just misinforming in general, other stakeholders, decision makers, and they have successfully lobbied home fire sprinklers out of codes. In fact, in more than half the states in our country, as you know, the code gets passed, but the sprinklers come out of the code. So that's what really led HFSC to develop this developer incentive program, because we wanted to take codes out of the discussion. And so we developed this program actually a couple of years ago, and we're starting to see it. It almost seems like by the time everyone's educated and the discussion is had, that we're finally starting to see new developments get sprinklered. So here's a list of some of the type of developer incentives. And basically what we want to do is increase awareness among authorities having jurisdiction that locally negotiated trade-ups can be discussed. They're going to be different in each community based on what risks there are. I often bring up wildfire areas. You may not want to get rid of a second egress or a second exit. in those areas. So it really depends on what the local issues and risks are. It does not require a change in local code or ordinance, and it can end up in reducing construction costs and increase builder profit or developer profit ultimately. And so that's what's so appealing about this. But ultimately, as we know on the code side and the fire service side, that if we can get an entire development sprinklered, that results in protecting occupants and firefighters. So one thing we did is a few years ago, we did a survey and we were working with Hanley Wood, and they're the publisher for Builder. And they did a survey with, it was around 200 to 300 big builders and developers, and just asked them, do you know what trade ups as incentives are? We talked about each one. But what we learned is that 9% of developers were aware of incentives. So that's a big percentage that were not aware, but more than half said if they were offered incentives that they would sprinkler entire developments. What was startling to us, we did another survey working with Firehouse of over 1,000 members of the fire service. Most of them were AHJs, that only 6% offered incentives. So clearly there was a wide gap in terms of this whole strategy of developer incentives. One of the other things we found out was that one of the top incentives that were favored by the developers were additional units, obviously more profitable, move the homes closer together, you can fit a few more units in, and not requiring expansion of existing water supply, and other water related issues ranked really high with the developers. So what I want to do is, this is a 4-minute video, and it kind of just gives you a brief overview of what the developer incentive program is. And it also includes one testimonial from Randy Miller, HJ Fire Marshal in Camas, Washington. And he talks about a incentive that that was offered and the developer saved money. So here we go. I hope I can get the audio to work here.
Building new housing developments with home fire sprinklers can increase fire safety for the entire community. Sprinkler developments support community risk reduction, as home fire sprinklers provide superior protection for responders and residents, benefiting the entire community for decades. In jurisdictions without home fire sprinkler code requirements, authorities having jurisdiction can work with planners, builders, and developers to provide cost-saving trade-ups or incentives when the entire development is protected with home fire sprinklers. Among the many incentives that can be offered are street width reduction, single access points, allowing T-turnarounds, longer dead-end streets, permitting additional units, and increased hydrant spacing.
So one of the success stories was we had a builder that had some challenging land on a hillside, and they wanted to have one entrance. And so we said they could if they sprinklered the entire subdivision. In order to get a second entrance to that subdivision, would have taken out 5 to 6 lots plus all the infrastructure to build a second entrance. So they saved somewhere around $1 million in the process of building this subdivision. So that's a real success story of taking advantage of sprinklers as a trade-up versus providing a second entrance into the subdivision. In Camas, we have pre-application meetings for developments. For any type of project for construction or subdivisions, we have pre-application meetings. And that's where I do a lot of my educating, is in those meetings and discussing with them the trade-ups and what they can take advantage of, and less infrastructure costs, less hydrants, one way in, those types of incentives, steeper slopes, a gated community, less water, not having to make amends for that. So that's where I have a chance to educate the developers, is in these pre-application meetings where we have planning, building, the fire marshal's office, and all of those agencies. We all sit together and we all have a chance to discuss their development before they submit for an application.
Communities can choose which incentives to offer that are specific to community needs. They are not one size fits all. Offering incentives to protect entire developments is a win-win for everyone. Home fire sprinklers save lives. Protect what you value most.
So in Camas, after what happened is the elected officials, the mayor said to Randy, look, we're not going to pass an ordinance, but we will support any type of negotiating you can do and incentives that you offer. And starting in 1998, that's when they had these discussions, and 98% of all new homes from that point forward were sprinklered. In fact, Randy said it got to the point where the developers thought there was a requirement, and 2,500 homes have been sprinklered since then. The average cost, obviously, when you're sprinkling a lot of homes, the supply and demand brings the cost down, $1.40 per sprinklered foot. And then also they had the flow through passage purge system in all the homes, and that helped reduce some costs and eliminate the backflow requirement. They've had 4 sprinkler saves since then. 2 were cooking fires, 1 was an electric fire, and one was involved a spray finish explosion fire, and a single sprinkler put that out. And so one thing that Randy will say is that in 2016, this whole process led to the elected officials passing the requirement. And Randy likes to share this quote: "You did a great job of proving me wrong," the Camas mayor said, who had voted against the bill back in 2003 and then was the mayor when they passed the requirement. And then Randy has some pictures of the mayor's home when it was under construction. He built a new home and that was sprinklered. So definitely a success story up in Camas. We have on our website a lot of case studies. Here are a couple because we know that as HJs are starting to go through this process, it always helps to have some information where other communities have had success. In Hopkinton, Massachusetts, Legacy Farms, 1,001 and 2 family homes. The incentives were high density and also some frontage compromises. And they've already had a handful of saves, 3. One was a candle left unattended. Another was a cooking fire. And in that case, they made it a point to say the family was able to stay in the home even that night of the successful activation. And then recently they had an oily rags fire. The home was a new home under construction. The system obviously was working. The people did not move in yet, but a single sprinkler put that out. That same community, I think it was within a week or two, same type of fire in an unsprinklered home, and same deal. The family did not move in yet. It was oily rags and the house was a total loss. So talk about a side-by-side showing a sprinklered versus unsprinklered. Also, what we like to point out is in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, like many other states, do have the mini max provision. And despite that, this whole developer incentive strategy allows the AHJ to still have that conversation. And so fire departments, local planning boards, they can often work together and achieve higher fire safety when they use this developer incentive. And that was, again, the case in West Bridgewater, where there were 27 units sprinklered, and this was single access was allowed, longer dead end road, and the fire hydrants were spaced a little further apart. So I like to throw the slide in here. We're doing a developer incentive program down in North Carolina, and Charlie Johnson with the Fire Marshal's Office added this to his part of the presentation. Just a reminder that home fire sprinklers are a better solution. And as I mentioned, we do have a number of case studies on our page. We try to feature all the various incentives so people can go there, and if they need to look up incentives and attach a case study to that, if they go to the page, that they can do that. So the other thing that's interesting is we did do an Omnibus survey where we really wanted to get a sense of, those millennials who a few years ago were living with their parents and had the big student loans and didn't have much money. Now they do have the money. They're buying their own homes, and they're making a lot of decisions. And we know that a lot of today's developers are paying attention to what they want. So in October of 2020, we did do an Omnibus survey of a little over 2,000 adults of all ages. And we really wanted to hone in on the millennials to learn about what they were thinking. And one of the things that we did learn was, first of all, 53% of the millennials said that they did plan to buy a home in the next 5 years. I don't know with today with the interest rates if that is going to change, obviously, but more than half said they planned on buying new homes. But 80% of the millennials said that they would prefer to buy a home with home fire sprinklers, but this was very important after they learned how sprinklers worked. So we we did sort of a quick little lesson that each sprinkler is individually activated, and where we could, we would say, if you had a candle sitting there and your dog knocked it over and your couch started on fire, only that sprinkler closest to the fire would activate so that you could safely get your family out. Once they learn that, 8 out of 10 said that they would prefer to buy a home with sprinklers. So education is key here. And 72% of everybody, all ages, not just millennials, said that they recognize that fire sprinklers do add value to a home. So our whole point here is that, you know, consumers, home buyers, they are safety conscious. We know that the millennials seem to be a little bit more, and but key to developer success, the developers need to understand that their buyers do want this. And so that's one of the points that we're making. And I want to point out that the reason these slides look different than the rest of my slides is we put these together and they're on our website. So anybody that wants this information can go to our website and download the slides that you're looking at right here. So the other thing is we do know that millennials, they're into sustainability. They like smart homes. And 12 years ago, we did the study with FM Global, and it was the environmental impact of sprinklers. And in 2021, last year, they reaffirmed the data. But basically what we found out was that fire sprinklers can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 98%, and that they reduce fire damage by up to 97%. Water usage to fight a fire by as much as 91%, and then also water solution. The survey results are amazing when FM Global does a study like this, but basically they took 2 living rooms, 20 by 20, had identical furniture. One was sprinklered with a single sprinkler, the other was not, and they let them both burn for 10 minutes, and that's what this data was based on. And then again, to have it reaffirmed was real important to us, because then that made it even more recent. So I'd like to transition into, for many years, HFSC has done live fire and sprinkler demos, and they're extremely effective. We did get a FEMA grant a few years ago to put a step-by-step guide together so that fire departments could use our video or our instructions to put 2 rooms together. It had material lists, talking points, press releases, you know, everything to have a successful community event with a side-by-side. And as a result, you know, many participants, we know there have been thousands of these, and now over the years, sprinkler trailers, NFSA, one of our founding members, plays a key role in making sure these sprinklers are available in many states throughout the country. And again, these have been very successful, but it has had some challenges. In some states like Oregon, it's difficult to have live burns up there. Sometimes it's an air quality issue, live burns in general with the wildfire situation. So we're looking for a different way that we could still show the dramatic difference between sprinklered and unsprinkled, and what will work better than virtual reality. And so we developed a powerful 3D 360-degree demonstration. And with this, viewers can experience 2 living room fires. We actually went into a home in Ashland City, Tennessee. NFSA, again, happened to have a home available there where there were 2 identical rooms on each side of the house. And so we put the furniture, same furniture in both rooms, one sprinklered, one not, and put our 3D virtual cameras in there and captured the fire until flashover occurred, and then the sprinklered fire. And so I'd like to show, I think this will work. This is a 1-minute promo that just sort of shows you what this tool is.
Fire is fast, but home fire sprinklers are faster. A house fire can become deadly in as little as 2 minutes. The fire burns hot and fast. It creates toxic smoke that spreads throughout the house. You are about to experience 2 fires in 2 rooms that were set up with identical furnishings. The 2 rooms are the same size, same windows, and the same doors. The fires in both rooms were ignited with combustible materials commonly found in typical living rooms. One room is protected with a home fire sprinkler, the other is not. Experience a real home fire in virtual reality and see how fast fire can be. Learn more about how you can keep your home and family protected at myhomefiresprinkler.org.
Okay, are you seeing the slide again?
We are.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, so anyhow, there are a few different ways that you can see this. You can go onto our YouTube channel and you can get through it through the website. And then of course, YouTube is 2D, but you know, you can self-navigate, it's 360. So if you watch the video, you can go on using your smartphone and physically turn around or use your finger and spin around the room, look up, look down. It's pretty cool. And we actually have 3 versions. One, we know from the live side-by-sides that some fire departments like to show the flashover first, followed by the sprinklered. So we did it both ways. We have that version, and then we also have the version where you see the sprinklered room first, followed by the flashover. And then one of our producers, this really young guy who never did anything like this before, he was actually the director. He was just so intrigued with how powerful and dramatic it was to see that room after flashover occurred and the damage. So he suggested, and we went with that suggestion, taking the 2 rooms after the 2 fires and stitching them together. So if you're looking at that version, you can actually spin around the room and see the difference between the 2 rooms unsprinklered and sprinklered. So anyhow, if you haven't yet, please check it out. But the other thing you can do is watch this in 3D immersive. If people have their own ocular 3D headset, we do make it available so that you can go onto our website and download it if you need the actual file. I know that there are almost like smart headsets where you automatically have access to YouTube, so you can just go right to the YouTube channel and watch it from there. So, but I just want to point out that this is available for anyone to download if they want to do that. So one thing that we did is working with River, and a lot of fire departments are becoming familiar with them because their classroom in a kit is being used for a lot of training. We're one of the first to use it for a prevention type program, but it allows us to do live fire demos or live or demonstrations in a classroom setting. And in this particular case, we had FEMA funding where we could buy 4 of these kits. Each one has 15 headsets and a presenter laptop in it. And it's all self-contained. You don't need to be on Wi-Fi in order to do this, but you could actually walk into a room full of, let's just say, a mayor and elected officials, and you could have your presentation, try and talk them into when you pass and upgrade the code, don't take sprinklers out. And now we want to show you why. We're bringing the demo to them, if you will. And at that point, all of those people can put the headset on, and the presenter can push one button and the whole council is watching the same thing at the same time. And what's kind of cool about it is on the laptop, it's like our meeting today or like the Brady Bunch, where you can see what each one is actually looking at. And when they're at the end of their presentation, and the capabilities with this laptop, I mean, you can do the chalkboard feature and circle things, but anyhow, it's pretty cool. But with the FEMA grant, we're in 5 regions of the country, and we're actually testing it with stakeholders. And I want to point out, right now, we're focusing on the stakeholders, the decision makers, the people I've listed on this slide, the developers, builders, elected officials, others that are involved, building officials, in determining if sprinklers should be part of new home construction. We're not recommending this as community outreach at this point. But we have found something else, and these are little rubber goggles, if you will. They're about $4 each. They are dependent on the user's smartphone, and so, you know, it's not as smooth as just putting a headset on and watching it. But what happens is the person with the smartphone, they can go to, we have a little card with it. You scan the QR code and that takes you to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done this, you have to hit play first. And then there's a little icon that appears, and you can see it on this slide that looks like a goggle. And when you hit that, it actually splits the screen apart and it prepares it so that you can insert the smartphone into this headset and have that same experience. And especially if you have nice earphones, earpods, that really enhances the experience as well. So it's that first initial part, getting it to play and popping it in. But it's amazing how for $4 per set, you can have that virtual immersive experience. It is pretty cool. So just in wrapping this up, what we're trying to do is bring the 2 together. We know that the developer incentive program is a wonderful strategy, but like I mentioned earlier, there's that gap. all the makers need to know about it. We've been doing this for a few years. As we're hearing from developers, they really like this idea. Where it's sometimes a challenge is we do know the AHJs, top of mind is talking about safety and codes. And what we're trying to do is have that business discussion with the developer instead. Here's how you can also ultimately save money or make a profit if you sprinkler. And if they can have that conversation, that's where we're starting to see success. But then if they can also have this virtual experience, that adds to why sprinklers are so important. And again, ultimately, what we're trying to do is protect the occupants and protect our first responders and our community. So if you go to our website, this is what our developer incentive program looks like. We have everything in there from what the various incentives are to tools to help determine who your stakeholders are. And like I said, the case studies, I shared a couple of them with you. So this really is turnkey in terms of someone who wants to go in and start using or putting this plan in motion. We're giving them what they need. And then we want to enhance that with the virtual reality experience as well. So if you're interested in one of these 3D glasses, let me know. I'll give you my contact information in a minute, but please follow us on social media. These are our handles for Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. So here's my contact information. I know I kind of went through this quickly, and I apologize again for the little technical problem, but I encourage you, if you do have your own headset, to please go visit our website and download the file, or if you can, go directly to the YouTube channel and watch it. It is a pretty cool experience. So at this point, any questions?
Any questions for Peg? Well, Peg, thank you very much. Very informational. We talk some in one of our work groups about sprinklers and residential sprinklers and the challenges that various departments across the country are dealing with changing that mindset. And so I really appreciate that information. I hope that statistics and the way that we can help AHJs move forward in their own jurisdictions is all on your website. So, hopefully, and please, for everyone on the call, please reach out to Peg if you have any questions or concerns. You're a great wealth of knowledge. So thank you again for being here and presenting this to us today. So final call for any questions for Peg.
I was just going to say our meeting doesn't look very good through these.
Yay! Love seeing that. We did.
I don't know if that was Chief Wassom or Scuba Steve. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I love it.
One thing we did do, for those of you who were at the Congressional Fire Service, we did put one at each place setting. So that was pretty cool.
That's fun. Great. Thank you so much. All right. Hearing and seeing no hands raised. Thank you again, Peg, for joining us today.
Thank you again and again. I apologize for my little technical issue. So thanks for being with me.
That's the world we're living in right now. So no worries.
Thank you.
All righty. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. We're going to move on to our second presenter. If Shannon is here now.
I am here.
Great. This is Shannon Homolka. I hope I'm pronouncing.
You got it.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Shannon's with ICC's. She's ICC's marketing director. So I would like to welcome you to our meeting today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you.
Christine, if I may, really quick on top of Shannon. So just a little fun fact. Shannon is in fact actually part of the fire service too. I'll let her explain that, but this is not unfamiliar territory for her, nor our people. So
yes, so I will share that fire code and definitely the Fire Services Membership Council serve a special place in my heart. My husband is actually, as of June 1st, a retired fire guy. So he actually served, I'm here in Illinois, he served for the Frankfurt Fire Department here in Illinois for nearly 25 years. So fire code is definitely something special in my heart based on that.
Well, congratulations to him and your family.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So let me actually make sure. Can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to go through, Carl and I have been speaking, and I know he's also been speaking with our counterpart, our communications department here at ICC, about revamp to the membership council pages, and really, you know, working through kind of the look, the design, the navigation, everything of those pages. And he came to us at a time when we were like, oh, we're actually doing a full website redesign, which is an overhaul of over 30,000 pages. So his timing in coming to us was kind of right at the start of that. And I am happy to say we are at a point where we are getting ready to completely roll out the website. So I'm going to kind of walk you through going to affect the membership council pages as well. So I'm going to take you through this agenda here, going through just kind of the scope of the project itself, what that new design means to all of our internal pages, how that will impact your pages as well as the membership pages, our timeline for completion, as well as I have a couple other items I wanted to mention to you while I had you all here as a captive audience. So let me take you through the scope. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone, but we did an audit of the website along with an outside agency who was helping us with this, and we revealed that there were significant architectural and design issues within our website, right? No big surprise. I think we were all aware of that. So our goal was to solve those most significant issues and create a standard that can act as a foundation as our website continues to grow. That definitely was part of the issue of a lot of the structural elements that we were finding that were faulty. Was this website has just been growing beyond bounds. And growing beyond bounds with very little standard. So just like our codes, we definitely need some codes and standards for our website as well. You will see some of this new design already on our website. And I believe the Safety 2.0 web pages were ones that you were using to kind of help build, and I'm going to apologize, I'm not linking very well here. Let me do this instead. So I believe Safety 2.0 was what a lot of people were using as their example of what they wanted to see their pages built to. So a very clean, crisp header or hero image is what we call it here at the top. Very clear opening section that pretty much explains in a sentence, or I would say sentence to 5 sentences, of what your mission and your information provided on that page is going to be. We're using a lot more icons, easy to move around navigation within here, clean cut areas as well. So you'll see here the different colors help us kind of separate those areas as well. And then a clean call to action. What do we actually want you to do, link to when you're here on this page? So this page is a wonderful example, a very great visual example. The other thing that you will notice different from our old website is we had a lot of clutter. There was a lot of navigation on the left side, a lot of navigation on the right side. We got rid of that clutter. We were looking at some heat maps of our pages and realized no one was really even using that additional navigation. So we pulled that away and we're able to open up these pages a lot more. Another example that I can show you is this codes and standards. So let me take you there as well. So again, a nice, clean, clear hero image up at the top. A nice clear first section with an opening about what this page is particularly about, and then breaking down each section nicely, clearly cut with different colors as the background, and a very clear call to action at the bottom, and ability to link out. And then I am going to show you, you guys are getting the sneak peek at this. So what this is we are launching a new membership page along with this. The content is pretty much going to be the same. It's just the look that's going to be a little bit different. So a nice clear image up at the top, a breakdown of what ICC membership means, our membership video, and the selection of who are you? Are you somebody who's new and wants to become a member, or are you somebody who already is a member? You will click on these links depending on what you're looking for with membership for ICC, and that will take you to also more newly designed pages, but a lot of the content you're already familiar with within here. We're also working, this is a work in progress right now, on including some member quotes in here as well too. So I think that will be a little bit more of a personal touch to our membership pages. So let me take us out of here for now and back to our presentation. And so how is this going to impact the membership council pages? They are currently in with a designer who is working with them. She's considering the recommendations that were brought to her by Carl and the councils members who were involved. And she's taking a look and kind of pulling in a lot of different elements. So she's taking in the recommendations. She's looking at our brand style guide to fit that into what our brand expectations are. She's meeting the consistency of our brand. She's also trying to fulfill the need of what we're looking for. Looking at accessibility, that has been a big concern for us throughout the website redesign as a whole, is making sure it's accessible for everyone who may be viewing it. So there's a lot of different color, font considerations, image considerations that we throw into that as well. The ease of navigation, as well as the recommendations that came from our agency as well. So it's a lot that she's pulling in. She's actually been working on this for quite a few weeks now, I believe 4 or 5 weeks now. And she is looking to supply me by the end of next week her full recommendation, the full layout. So we'll be able to start looking at that and providing feedback. And definitely I will be sharing with Carl so that we can start collecting feedback on those pages. So the goal is to have the membership pages ready in time for our launch, which will be in July. And then we would like to have the membership council pages quickly within the full launch of the website as well. So if I look at the timeline, we are actually completing phase 1 right now. So we've already done the initiation, which was the largest phase. That took us quite a few months to go through and audit the website and get through recommendations of a new design. So we're in the development phases right now. Our IT team, as well as our designers, are working on that for all the pages. And then phase 2 is the full rollout. So this is when we'll really get into all of the pages, which will include the membership council pages. So if you look at that timeline, we're actually in that right now. So that's through June and July that we will be doing that. And the content management and updates, which would be within our phase 3, that's continually ongoing. So I believe we're at a point where it's pretty safe to say we will have a new page designed. It's just a matter of how many edits and how many rounds of changes we need to go that will decide when that will actually go live on our website. So if it's quick, we could do this right away here in July, but if we find that there's still a lot of edits and changes that need to be made, that may take us a little bit longer. I'm going to actually stop there and open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Shannon. I actually have 1 or 2 questions with regard to this. With the phase 2 template design rolling out of the membership pages, is this an opportunity for membership councils to view these templates and work with the design team to be able to customize, so to speak, based on the needs of the membership councils, with some formatting restrictions, I know, but I think some of the challenges that we've had currently is being able to easily upload documents, information, things like that. It's really hidden right now with how it is, and obviously, the recommendations that we passed through Carl with work group links or icons to click into it. How much of this is once we see it, we're locked into it, and how much is it that we can continue a dialogue between the membership councils and the design team to be able to make it user friendly, not only for the membership, but for those of us who are trying to maintain the content on the website?
Yes. So I will be sharing with Carl, what we come up with, and then I will leave it up, to each of our staff liaisons to share with whomever they need to within the councils as well. So we're definitely open to suggestions and hearing your comments, concerns. But I definitely would say, like, a lot of it, as far as like the navigation and the ease and kind of those things, that may be a phase 3. That's an ongoing thing. We may find we launch it now and we thought we liked the way it was working, and it's not working. So I would definitely say this is an ongoing process. And I am happy to actually say we're kind of honing back some of the ownership back of it onto the marketing and communications department. So if there's anything that's a real big need for design or a different look or different navigation, we're going to take that on. I think probably Carl and even you, Christine, can say a lot of that fell on you, and that should not have fallen on you. That's going to come back to the marketing communications. So we'll be working very closely with you on those changes and hopefully make it easier, because we definitely have people who know code and can put that in, and I mean HTML code when I say that, that can work and do more wonders than we just can within what we're given in the website. So I think that will definitely help moving forward.
Perfect, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions for Shannon?
Good. All right. Well,
Thank you so much.
If there are questions, I'd also just love to share really quickly a new program that we're going to be launching in July, and that's a membership drive incentive program. So in essence, what it is a referral program. So we're going to be reaching out to all of our members, and our theory is good people know other good people. So help us bring in some new members. So through this incentive program, what we're going to do is through my ICC, each member will have an option to opt into this program. And if they do opt in, that they have someone that they would like to refer, or more than just someone, you'll be given a unique URL that you can then share with this referral source. That unique URL will help us be able to track that referral back to you. So once that referral becomes a member of ICC, you will then be given 25 points or $25 that can be used towards our My ICC store. And that will all be, tracked through your My ICC account. Very easy to use. I actually walked through it today. Very, very easy to use. So we'll be looking to launch that at the end of July, and we'll be communicating that through social media, email, the website, landing pages, all of that great stuff. So I don't think you'll miss it, but you'll definitely see it. It will be out there, but I just wanted to let everybody know that is coming up. So start thinking about who you want to refer.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to discuss and show this to us today. There's been many of us that go back to Carl of how are things going. So we appreciate hearing from you, and I'm glad to see that ICC is moving forward, and we're getting close to being able to see not only the membership council web pages, but for the entire ICC website. So it sounds 30,000 pages sounds like very daunting work. So understanding it takes time. So last call for any questions for Shannon.
I just wanted to give my special thanks to my colleague Shannon for coming on today too, because I know just how sick and tired you all are of hearing me talk about this. And Shannon is a breath of fresh air in many respects, and I'm really excited about the where the site is headed. And she's got a great team. Working with her, our marketing communications group has really transformed itself over the last year, and Shannon's been at the center of that. So I wanted to say a personal thank you to Shannon and to her team for coming on and talking about this. And we look forward to all of the exciting features that are coming with the website refresh. So thanks, Shannon.
Great, thank you. And anytime, you guys hold a special place in my heart. So you'll get some extra special treatment here.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. All right. Well, that was nice. Okay, we're going to move on to reports from officers and liaisons. I don't think I see Director Sayers on. You'll have to help me out, Carl. I don't see him. We did have 3 additional directors on the call earlier, Director Metz, Director McDaniel, and Director Brown. I believe Director Brown and McDaniel needed to step off, but we still have Director Metz. So hi, Randy. Just opening it up for you if you'd like to say anything to the membership.
Thank you, Christine. Always a pleasure to be with the Fire Service Membership Council. The ICC board met this past weekend for our quarterly meeting in beautiful Bluffton, South Carolina. For those of you that live in the South, I don't know how you could possibly survive the humidity that I experienced on a daily basis, but it was beautiful and lush. We got a lot of work done in preparation for our annual conference. A couple dates to remember for you guys. June 20th is your deadline if you're going to add any public comments to the Group B codes that we're going to be hearing. August 1st is your deadline to validate your government member voters. And then for those of you that are looking for a way to get there and don't have the funds in your budget, June 30th is your deadline to apply for your Code of Honor scholarships to attend code hearings this year. One of the things that we did do, we did approve updates to 2 of the charters for membership councils, both building and emerging leaders. Had some adjustments. One of them, it was to add a secretary position to their governing committee in addition to their chair and vice chair. So we didn't really have any discussion as a board. Those were approved on consent on whether or not we would want to consider that type of a change for all membership councils. But it was only applicable to those 2 since those were the charters that were requested changes to. But just wanted to keep you updated on what some of the other membership councils are doing and how they're adjusting charters. Aside from that, the fire service is obviously preparing and ramping up, at least out here in California, for what we anticipate will be a very active wildfire season. We're starting to see fires already in Arizona. Flagstaff has a very large one burning right now. We've had firefighters from California spend a lot of time out in New Mexico over the last couple of weeks serving on strike teams there. So I think it's going to be a very active, summer and fall for us. And I'm sure that you all will be experiencing something similar as the wildfire issue becomes more of a global issue for the United States and not just a Western United States issue. I'm going to throw something into the chat, just an article that was released. I first saw it this morning from NFPA, and it addresses something that we in the fire service have been dealing with from a code perspective, and that's regulating e-bikes and e-scooters. And this has specifically to do with a decision that is going to be considered by the New York State Housing Authority or for the city of New York that would prohibit the use and charging and storage of e-bikes and e-scooters in any form of public housing. If you followed the fire issue there in New York City, they're having an extreme problem with the charging of these devices and causing major fires, displacing hundreds of people, and a lot of them are not necessarily being done for personal use. A lot of these fires are associated with commercial charging in private residents inside some of these public housing complexes, where they may be charging 50, 60 scooters or bikes at a time. Definitely not what our code intended to be happening, but as these become more and more common, obviously we're working code development wise to address the issue, but it may be something or a specific topic that the Fire Service Membership Council may want to have more in-depth conversation on, determine if there's an opportunity for you guys to prepare some form of a white paper to inform the ICC board of concerns and issues that we should be aware of as we look towards this issue, how it affects our nation as a whole. They're only going to be sold more and more and more. And with a lot of what we're looking at for reduction of greenhouse gases and decarbonization, I'm sure that devices like these will be promoted more and more to get more cores off the streets. So I think it's something that the fire service should probably start having a larger discussion on, now that we actually have seen them in use and seen the negative effects of improperly utilizing chargers, unlisted batteries, things of that nature that we were concerned about when we first started having this discussion from a code development standpoint, but didn't have any data to support our concerns. And I think now we're getting to the point where that data is readily available. I'm sure Kelly may be able to weigh in from UL on anything that they may be doing on this particular issue, but something that I think that you all should be aware of and may want to consider as a pet topic for one of your working groups. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions you have about what the board's doing, but I hope we'll see you all in Louisville, and look forward to joining you then.
Great. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate you being here as always. Next item, a report from the chair. I really don't have anything that is not already in the agenda for this meeting. Report from the vice chair. I don't believe Tim Deal is on the call. Oh, there you are. Hi, Tim.
Christine.
Sorry, for some reason I was thinking that you might not be here for this meeting.
That's next time.
Got it. Too many meetings.
Exactly. Too many meetings. Just real brief, real quick, just a couple topics, working with the building membership council on some items that are coming up, of course, for conference, the continuity and outreach committee, especially in Rochester, we had the casual get together. So looking forward to kind of duplicating that or replicating that to the best we can while we're in Louisville. So we're looking forward to that. One other item that I know is close to a lot of us that I'm kind of tracking and watching is out of the shooting down in Texas. There were coming out complaints from the police of not being able to open the doors, not being able to find the keys to get in through those locked doors. This was a big issue when it first came out and addressed in the codes. I just see this as coming forward again. So just wanted to make everybody aware that you may see this come back. You may see more approaches to it, but I am, as part of that security now, I'm paying a little bit more attention and working with our officials in that. So just updated. But other than that, that's all I got. Looking forward to summer like everybody else.
Great. Thank you very much. Next is a staff liaison report. Carl.
Hello, everyone. Try to keep this. I got a lot this month, so I'm going to try to keep it moving, and I'll put a bunch of it in the chat here for us too. So as Randy said, public comments for Group B through June 20th. The conference and expo registration and hotels are open. As we mentioned last month, early bird registration through August the 1st. If you haven't gotten your hotel, get your hotel now. And I can't make any guarantees on government rate at this point. So if you haven't done that yet, get in on it and get your hotel room. Code of Honor Scholarship application period is open through June the 30th. So for those that are unfamiliar with that process, that's a scholarship program to help underwrite some of the costs, if not the full costs, of someone being able to attend the conference and the code hearings more importantly. So, and then the last point here is in terms of validating your governmental voters, that's August the 15th. So make sure that those are all done and you'll be all set for conference and expo. Following up on Randy's comments about the energy storage systems and batteries. So on top of what you see there in the NFPA article, I had the opportunity to speak with Chief Jordan, who is the fire prevention chief in New York City. They are just seeing an absolute run of these types of fires in New York City, which is prompting what you see there in the NFPA article. So as part of that, I was reached out to and have been working with NASFM, the National Association of State Fire Marshals, to put together a program for their conference this year. So it's going to be myself, Chief Jordan. We'll also have Ray Bazal from NFPA, Kevin Selmeyer, who's the State Fire Marshal in Michigan, Mike O'Brien, whom we all know, and I think there's a couple, UL, so it'll either be Steve Kerber or Sean DeCrane will be down there, and we're going to be taking this topic on for about 90 minutes in the very beginning of August. So looking forward to that. To say that ESS and batteries are a hot topic, that is no joke. That's pretty much at the top of the list in terms of activity and what we're seeing, particularly with the mobility devices like Randy was talking about. Also, to echo what Randy said in terms of WUI, so we're at the heart of the WUI fire season. That's on us now and will be for some time. Just to remind everybody, I had the opportunity, and thanks again. I know we've got a couple of folks on from NFPA today for sponsoring the Wildfire Policy Summit, May 10th through 12th in Sacramento. I wanted to update everyone and let them know that there's preliminary drafts of all of our work group activities that we did there. Comments are due back from us who attended by June 20th, and then shortly thereafter, we should be seeing some preliminary reporting coming out that we can share externally. So pretty excited about that. I think, again, this is one of those things that we do holding hands with all of our National Fire Service partners and all of the stakeholders in WUI. So it's a pretty big deal. And then also as a reminder, I'll put in the chat, the WUI resource for the ICC is iccsafe.org/WUI. And that's a new website that we published last month. So it was the month before. So it's been out there. It's been getting some really good traffic, and we've actually updated it with something I'll talk about here in a few minutes from the Fire Administration. As of June 1st, we're also now in Atlantic hurricane season. So two big pieces to talk to you about. First is the FEMA building code strategy that was announced in mid-April at the National Hurricane Conference. It focuses on really three core goals: integrating building codes and standards across FEMA. So it's an internal proposition, strengthening nationwide capacity for superior building performance, and then also driving public action on building codes. I've got a link to that. I'll put it in the chat. So that was a big announcement that came out from the FEMA administrator in mid-April at the Hurricane Conference, and then shortly thereafter followed up by another announcement by both the White House Climate Policy Office and the FEMA administrator surrounding the White House National Initiative to Advance Building Codes. So again, I have a link for that. I'll put in the chat, but it's really now this comes out of the FEMA realm of just kind of getting their shop in order in terms of coordinating, collaborating on codes within FEMA and throughout all of the FEMA regions, states, locals, tribes, territories, and now takes it to a federal interagency level through the White House. And the White House initiative is really based on national resiliency through energy codes. The idea there is to reduce energy costs and boost resilience. Federal departments and agencies are going to review federal building and financing of building construction to ensure that projects follow updated model codes and provide incentives and support for communities to adopt modern building codes. So that's kind of music to our ears, but also kind of a caution to the fire service that, I know that there are sometimes, there are pros and cons in terms of how the energy codes work with things like the WUI code and other fire codes and some of the safety issues that are addressed in there. So I think definitely something that the Fire Service Membership Council should keep its eyes and ears on, and in particularly Michael's group that looks at all of the emerging issues and trends out there to kind of monitor where things are headed with energy, because obviously with the White House push behind it, FEMA obviously behind it, these are two really big things for the Code Council that we're involved in, and we want to make sure that they're all done not only implemented according to their programs, but also certainly done in a safe and responsible fashion. Lastly, as I alluded to, the United States Fire Administration recently released its Wildland Fire Report. So it was kind of the report formerly known as America Burning WUI. It's been retitled and appropriately so. So hats off to Dr. Lauren Moore Merrill and Chief Hoover for their intervention in that and kind of focusing this report over the last couple of years. But it's got some really great stories to tell in it in terms of codes and standards. It's something that we, the Code Council, participated in. I got to sit on that along with counterparts Ann Cope from the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, or IBHS, and then also Michelle Steinberg at the NFPA. So we ganged up and got a lot on codes and standards in this, what was, again, formerly known as the America Burning WUI report. It's now called Wildland Urban Interface, a look at issues and resolutions. So it's really laid out it's a simple read, big document, but laid out kind of like if you've had experience with after action reports where you see a challenge and then a series of recommendations. So it's a pretty easy read. Again, I'll cut and paste those in here as soon as I'm done talking. And I would be remiss if I did not say congratulations to our partners. I know that Bob Sullivan and Robbie Dawson are on from the NFPA. Congratulations on your 125th anniversary celebration up in Boston. Our CEO, Dominic Sims, was there and invited myself and Beth Tubbs and Bill Nash, who's our regional guy for much of New England, there to present a commemorative plaque to the CEO, to Jim Pauley, as well as to the NFPA board on Monday when they kicked off their conference. So you guys really lucked out with some awesome weather. You're great hosts, and we're super excited that you had the 125th, and here's to another 125, and working together on stuff like we're doing for WUI and so many other things. So that's my report, Christine. I'll give it back to you and get this stuff in the chat.
Great. Thank you very much for all of that, Carl. Next agenda item is Membership Council Officers and Liaisons. This is a new item to allow any of our partner membership councils, if they would have, if they'd like to say something to our group. So Tom Allen, I think you're still on for Building Membership Council. Just want to open it up. If you have anything, we welcome to have you say a few words. Okay, so it looks, oh, he's showing that he's on. So, okay. And then Global Membership Council, I don't know if anyone is on the call, or any other membership councils that have any information or would like to say anything to the group.
Hi, Christine. This is Rock.
Oh, hi, Rock.
Our next quarterly, it's going to be at 8 p.m., so we don't have any updates.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Great. All right, ongoing business. The annual awards process. Carl?
Yep, just a quick reminder to folks, we have sent forward Fire Service Membership Council endorsement for the Robert W. Gaine Fire Prevention Leadership Award. So if you know, you know. For others that don't, you will know come September timeframe once that award is given. But we have, as a council, weighed in on that. And then the Innovation and Code Administration Award. Christine, just a reminder to you and Tim that we'll need to just make sure that we've got names from ICC, IAFC, and NASFM that we are ready to review those applications, and Bill Nash and I would like to get something on the calendar with our BMC counterparts to review those applications here in the next 2 weeks. So if we could do that, that would be great. That's all I have.
Perfect, thank you. Okay.
And this
So-
next one is primarily for you. I'm just here to support if you need it.
Okay, no, that's fine. So the next item for new business is the annual conference and Expo. The Expo starts on, you may have to help me, Carl, September 11th and 12th. The educational component is, the ABM is the 11th, and educational training sessions are the 12th. I may have them off one day. I am off one day. So Expo is 11 and 12. The board is, the ABM is the 12th. Training is the 13th. Membership councils are scheduled for the morning of the 14th. I know that everyone received your email from Carla Higgs with instructions about your role and reimbursements and coverage and so forth for your membership council in-person attendance. There's been some follow-up discussion with regard to some of the parameters of what is covered. And my understanding is that it is being discussed by board members, and we're hoping to hear if there is an adjustment to some of those parameters that we'll hear about it soon, so that people can plan their trip. There was discussion about the number of nights that was covered, and because currently it's one night, and there were some discussions about the logistical and ability and feasibility for people to attend with a one-night coverage. So I have not had any other updates prior to any of you knowing. So we're waiting to hear if that anything changes. Hopefully we'll hear soon. Right now, that is the direction. So hopefully everyone can schedule your travel arrangements to make the meeting. The joint membership council meeting is at 8 o'clock that morning. The individual membership council meetings are 9 to 11 on the 14th. Any questions or comments about that one? All right. Oh, yes, Robert Sullivan. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Christine, and thanks, Carl, for all the great information. I just wanted a clarification on the Fire Service Membership Council meeting. Previously, there had been an invitation that went out for September 11th, and I think now it's been changed to September 14th. Just wanted to clarify that one way or the other so we can get our scheduling correct.
Yep, that's correct. It's the 14th, Bob. And I'm going in to take a look at I maybe haven't gotten to the information yet on the monthly meeting. I'll update the invite right now. Thanks for the prompt on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it was typically done, annually, it's certain days, and then it was adjusted. So we'll catch that up. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Anyone else with any questions or comments about that? All right, seeing none. Our next meeting is Thursday, July 21st, 1 p.m. East, or 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific. And I will now open it up for questions or comments from the audience. If you can just put a raise hand in the next to your name, then that would be helpful to see. Okay, I'm not seeing any. We have just a few more minutes. So anything else for the good of the order?
I'm
Yes.
seeing Jonathan Lund.
Hi, Jonathan.
Christine, or maybe Carl, just a clarification. Can you tell us, I know we've been sent invites to be there for something on Sunday, and then our meeting's Wednesday. Are we only required or only supposed to be there on Wednesday? I guess what is the requirement or the goal for us to be in person in September? just trying to make some travel arrangements.
Yeah, let me speak to the scheduling conflict and then I'll let Christine speak to the goal, or not let, but that's more her territory to cover. So the reason why you have, and everybody on the call has an invitation for September the 11th right now, Jonathan, is because of the fact that typically we've moved in the last few years due to COVID, these either not done the annual conference and meetings, or we've done them kind of like on different days. So what you see is the September 11th piece for me was just a best guess at the beginning of the year, that showed the when we thought that was going to be. The meeting schedule has actually been published. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat for you right now, and I'm actually going to, as soon as I turn off my camera here, update the meeting invitation. So the fire, just to clarify, the Fire Service Membership Council meeting, official meeting in Louisville, is going to be Wednesday, September the 14th, 9 to 11. And that is immediately following an 8 to 9 joint membership council meeting where we'll hold elections for any open seats or re-elections at that point. So hopefully that clarifies the scheduling and coordination piece. And I'll obviously give it back to Chief Reed to talk about expectation.
Right, thanks, Carl. So as I've presented before, the in-person meetings are our opportunity to be able to work a little bit more collaboratively, a little bit longer in person. So we're able to have further discussions and help attain what our goals are, and frankly increase the networking that we have that we've lost anytime throughout the year. Typically, the Building and Fire Service Membership Councils jointly have a dinner, an informal dinner somewhere the night before. So I would anticipate, Carl, that would be probably something in the works again for the night of the 13th. So
that's correct.
Okay, so and it's always a nice time to be able to talk to other people in the Fire Service Membership Council as well as others in the other membership councils. So it's normally a pretty good night and meal. So so that's the idea is the priority is being there for the Fire Service Membership Council meeting. You know, we're still, this is something we talked about when we were going back to Rochester, is the amount of time that that is expected for us to do work, and 2 hours, we've spent 2 hours here today. So you know, it's having 2 hours isn't a lot of time. I'm hoping that we can get those time frames extended, or if situations were accommodating enough, we were able to have a secondary meeting like we did in Rochester. But in that time, it was only half of the committee. So, you know, we were able to have good discussion. But the intent is to have more of an in-person, greater depth of discussions than what we do in these meetings. So hopefully that helps. I know it for some of you could be a quick turnaround, especially with whatever your travel plans may be and flights, or if you're driving or so forth, and I totally understand it. It is something that I know that when I've talked to people after they have an in-person meeting, they're very thankful that they came, because it's just so much more than what we get on a virtual meeting every month. So hopefully that clarifies some things. And again, if we get any further word on adjustments, I know people are making their plan arrangement or your travel arrangements, me included, and we're trying to, as soon as we get any different information, we will pass that on. Otherwise, that's the information we have for now.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay, anything else? All right, seeing none, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Wassom.
I was gonna say, do people want to stay? Do I hear a second?
Deal second.
Great, thank you all. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. We will see you then on July 21st. Have a great day.
Take
Take
care,
care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.